still the principle of the difference between the actual memory address containing the certain bits, which is the data,
Yeah.
and the physical location, and the
Yeah.
pointer to this physical location would always be
Yeah.
different. Okay, and
Yeah.
if we talk about this from the like web scraping perspective, data structures, no matter whether it's Python or JavaScript. By the way, the video was covering both Python and JavaScript because
Yeah.
no matter the program or what the programming language is, it's the matter of how the memory operates. And this is getting very confusing when people don't understand the difference. So if just try to explain this in very simple words, it's like if you have a shortcut on your desktop on Windows, which I hate, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you have a shortcut to your favorite game.
Or for Linux users, a symbolic link.
Yeah, symbolic link on
Yeah.
Linux,
Yeah.
but symbolic link doesn't represent this concept that much because
No.
I mean, like these shortcuts on Windows more likely representing that. I think
Yeah.
that's a bit more precise way
Mm.
to describe. So let's say you have your favorite game on Windows, and you
Yep.
just have this shortcut on your desktop, and if you click it, you run the game. But your game is not installed on the desktop; it's installed at C/program file/ your game name, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on the C drive. It's in the program files folder. It's not on the desktop. And the same with this kind of objects, like the data structures, like objects containing your data. So the actual object, so if you want to make a deep copy, it's like if you go to your C drive and make a physical copy of that file.
Yeah.
And if you're using this reference, it's similar to as if you've made a shortcut for that sort of a file on your hard drive, and you just make a shortcut on your desktop. So that's the reference. That's the pointers. So
And
shortcuts on desktop are the pointers. So people
yeah.
need to
And
understand that.
if you grew up, if you were young, so for our younger viewers, if you grow up and you're just learning Python, it's worth being aware of C, or not necessarily C++, but just have some awareness of C.
Just
Even
see
if you
them.
just do a Hello World C tutorial and then you just create some integers and some character arrays
Yeah.
and
By the way,
pointers.
by the way, absolutely the same thing goes with the data types. So let's say
Mm.
in dynamically typed languages like Python or JavaScript, you don't give. I'm sorry. You don't care about. You don't care about. You
Monetization.
you don't care about what kind of data type it is, whether it's an integer or string.
Mm.
So it has all those int, str in Python, all this high-level built-in
Yeah.
functionality to turn one data type into another, and the data type is literally an instance of a class, and you can't really get an idea what is that in essence, or what is that in essence actually.
Mm.
But
Which is so in some ways Python is almost too kind, too nice to you, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's very nice to it's good to use Python. Like if you master the skateboard and then a
Mm.
bicycle and then a
Yeah.
scooter and then a motorcycle and
Mm.
then like car and then
Yeah.
like sport car and then a minivan and then a
Mm.
monster truck and then and only then you can go for a spaceship.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Python is like a spaceship. Assembly is like a skateboard.
Yeah.
So if you don't know how to ride the skateboard and you go into the space and you go into outer space on a spaceship, you might not be prepared that well.
No.
And when you're in the space up there,
Yeah.
uh, you can't fix things if something goes wrong. That's
No.
it. So you first need to be on the ground to train a little bit to get the solid basics, and then you can learn
Yeah.
whatever.
Because I
That's
know some of the I see some of the Raspberry Pi stuff because obviously Dr. Pi came from that kind of,
yeah,
and
obviously.
a lot of the Raspberry Pi stuff starts off with Python, not even full Python. Some of it's micro Python and so on. And to be fair, they do C tutorials, but I think it's important to emphasize that C is really is so good to know about and have knowledge of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
If we're talking about what are the reasons to use C in 2021, I would say writing operating systems, writing
Mm.
chess engines, writing programming languages. If you don't do any of this, you don't need C professionally. Well, also like embedded programming, also
Yeah, controlling machines,
yeah,
Arduino,
machines, yeah,
electronics.
yeah,
Yeah,
like Arduino, yeah, and Raspberry
yeah,
Pi apparently,
yeah,
yeah. But I believe that even today's poor courses sometimes has C as the basic subject because
Yeah.
it allows you to understand the flow of programming. It's very old language. It's around 50 years if I'm not
I
mistaken.
believe so. 60s, 1960 something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's much older than I am, to say at least.
Yeah, yeah,
Probably it's older than you, I think.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's really essential for beginners to have a proper mindset. It will give a flexibility in future because if you just
Mm.
stick to Python, then if you need to learn JavaScript, you need to pay another, I don't know, 2,100 bucks for another course at Udemy, right?
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
want to master, like, I don't know, whatever other language, then you need to pay another 2,100 bucks. But if you know C, if you understand the flow of programming, you can just read through the documentation, and in the next couple of days, you would find yourself already coding in that language. That's what happened
yeah.
to me. By the way, one interesting business-related insight. My very first experience with web development for money. It was a very fun story. I keep telling this story. So once I've been watching two videos by Trevor Media about RESTful APIs in Python and Flask, and in the next month, I earned slightly more than $500 based only on knowledge I've taken from those videos.
Wow,
I've been showing the exact Upwork contract in one of my previous videos on Common Kicking channels. So those interested,
wow.
have a look at that. Yeah, $500. I just created the RESTful API in the
Was
ways.
that using Flask and Python?
What?
What were you using? What language? Python and Flask, was
Python,
it?
Python and Flask, yeah, the
Yeah.
Python
Mm.
and the Flask for web to build a web application.
Yeah.
And I built a custom. I built a custom RESTful API and connected that to the database. I didn't use Trevor Media's code directly. I did write my own code, but I just
Yeah.
used the IDEs taken from the videos. Now, here is the point: in order to be able to learn in that sort of way, absolutely for free, you need to have that solid basis because otherwise, it would be just a code monkey copy paste in someone else's code that would be
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
production. So that's kind of it. Yeah.
Which brings me on to a very kind of important question, and you mentioned this the other day. I think it was on some comments. Um, Many people these days use videos for an overview, and some use it to actually follow the code. Um, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's important to watch just a video for a quick overview and then you go off and try and create the code yourself? Or do you think it's also good practice to follow a 1 hour tutorial and then type everything that you're watching?
It's very, very important question. Thanks for asking. So for those interested in code, you better go on GitHub, not on YouTube. You just go on GitHub and search for
Mm.
whatever you want. You will get the code and you're done.
But that's too easy.
That's too easy, yeah.
Mm.
But you won't learn much from that.
No.
Well, unless you have a big expertise in the field and you just
Yeah.
the proper solution. Well, that's not the case. We're not talking about some pros currently. We're talking about beginners. So I
Yeah.
would say just a few words on how I was learning to code, how I still learn to code if I need to pick up something new. So let's take Trevor Media as an example. He's absolutely amazing guy for this sort of a purposes of learning. So that's how it works. I open Trevor Media's tutorial and I literally follow step by step every single character he types in his
Mm.
code editor on the screen in the video. I do
Yeah.
type this in on my side. He runs the
Okay.
code, I run the code. I don't even
Yeah.
try to understand what's going on. I just try to mimic. That's the reason why I call myself Code Monkey King. This comes from,
Monkey see, monkey do.
yeah, monkey see, monkey do. So first, I just try to mimic what he does. By the way,
Yeah.
initially, I came up with this sort of a technique. Well, if we drop the experience with ZX Spectrum back in the day when I was a kid, when I wanted to play a game of Snake, if we
Yeah.
drop that experience, my actual studies in coding, I didn't want to learn to code. I wanted to have a working chess engine playing in my style of chess. Okay,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid learning to code at any cost because I knew that it's too complicated, sophisticated.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to go for that. But it
No.
just happened that I realized that, okay, so I need to learn something about coding because otherwise I won't be able to change the values in the evaluation tables. So the code
Yeah.
violent. Yeah, so I think okay, so I need to learn a little bit of a C, and then like there is an absolutely amazing guy on YouTube, the author of the legendary series Chess Engine in C. His channel is called Blue Fever Software. The actual guy's name is Richard Olbert. He's from UK. He's absolutely amazing guy. And the style of tutorials that I do on YouTube is 100% inspired by his tutorials. So you literally open up the text editor. He never used IDEs. He would always use the bare text editor and the console. No matter he made videos on Linux, on Windows, on Mac, even it doesn't matter. No matter what the operating system is, he was opening the text editor and the console. He writes the code in the text editor. He runs this in the console. And since then, I can't use IDEs. So there were more than 80 videos, if I'm not mistaken. Well, at least more than 60 videos. Let's say more than 60 videos in his playlist. In my playlist on Bitboard Chess Engine, you see I have 95 videos. It's more than, I think I beat him in that case. So, but I remember that I've been following at least 40 videos from the beginning and up to the very end. And even though I already found myself where I kind of could understand what's going on, but still I didn't drop watching that. I didn't drop following. I was typing every single character from screen to my editor. I didn't use the code. I never downloaded this code to paste this into my own code. I was changing the variable names. That's an interesting practice. So to make sure that I know that I understand how this works, I didn't use the variable names he used. I used my own variable names. So if I have any compilation error, I understand why this is happening, basically. So that's kind of it. And I think this already serves as the answer to the question that you've asked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I think I kind of put my code on GitHub, partly just in case anybody really desperately wants it and it saves them some time. But I'd really agree with you that if you just copy the code, you're not going to learn anything, are you? Copy and pasting code is just not teaching you anything, is it?
Yeah, I was even thinking about that. Maybe I shouldn't put my code on GitHub. In that case, this would increase the number of views for my videos. Hence, the monetization would be better. So, but unfortunately, I dropped programming before that idea has come into my head. So
but also if somebody copies and pastes your code and then they can't get it to work, then they send you a message and then you can fix it for them and then you can do a video about that. You can show how you fixed it. And sometimes one thing leads to another that leads to another. So.
Well, it depends. I think it depends on the goals you're setting. So initially, I was setting the goals to grow the community behind this channel because this channel is literally nothing without the community behind it. So I was trying to kind of hook the viewers a little bit. So I was trying to hook them with my code base and just what you've mentioned now. So a guy takes the code, something is not working, but as far as I'm the author of this code, I can actually fix that. Or if he wants to some altering, some slight modifications. In that case, I can just do that for him. If he wants something more, I can even make this as a paid project. And that's the way how to interact with people more. But when you're getting annoyed from interacting with people, you want the opposite, and that's what happened to me. So I would say in English this is called burnout. Burnout.
Fatigue. Web scraping fatigue. No, that's interesting because I had a comment a while back, probably around about Christmas time, and I can't remember what they said. They said, but I've had probably more comments talking about how some of my videos have given them ideas or inspiration. Would you say that as well as your code, you've also given many people, or hope you would like to have given many people inspiration and give them even more enthusiasm for doing code and doing Python?
I got the question. I got the question. I would answer yes and no simultaneously. So why yes? So yes is because I do try to inspire no matter what I do. It's not even about coding. If I try to talk in Korean, that serves the purpose of inspiring other people to learn Korean, let's say. So it doesn't matter. So the inspiration part, if when you're doing something and you're not afraid to show your poor skill in doing this currently on YouTube in public, when you
Yeah.
expose it to the public, so that's
Yeah.
something to motivate other people. So someone, a guy might say, okay, so he's not that well in this, but he's not afraid to show this. Hence, I
Yeah.
can do this as well, and this motivates him.